So, if your social media feeds look anything like ours, you've probably been seeing ads for Road Trip Mushroom Gummies just about everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. The packaging is super bright. The marketing promises, adventure, clarity, even visuals.
Exactly. It's all sold with this psychedelic vibe, but it's legal. You can just buy it. And that's the core of our deep dive today. We're cutting through the hype.
Right. What is actually in these things? How can
hmm
they be legal, but also claim to mimic a scheduled substance?
Okay, so let's start there. Before we even get to what might be the secret sauce, what does the brand guarantee is not in the product?
They are very, very careful about this. They state it right on the packaging. No psilocybin, no psilocybin.
The classic magic mushroom compounds.
Correct. And they also say no for DMT, which is a really important detail
Why is that so important?
because that's a common synthetic prodrug. It's often used to create a sort of legal analog that gives you that classic mushroom experience. So they're basically saying, nope, it's not even one of the known synthetics.
So if it's not the classics and it's not the usual synthetic stand-ins, then we're left with the infamous proprietary blend. What do they say that is?
Well, the label claims a proprietary blend of plant-inspired molecules that's paired with a base of, well-known functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, and reishi.
Plant-inspired molecules. That sounds vague.
It's more than vague, it's a huge red flag. The term proprietary blend is basically a regulatory shield. It means they don't have to tell you the exact ingredients or, crucially, the dosages.
So it immediately pushes the product into a kind of legal and safety gray area.
A massive gray area. It lets them use compounds that might skirt current laws, potentially novel psychoactive substances, without any real disclosure.
And that's the whole context, right? Because you look at their product lines, and on one hand, you've got a microdose version that lists a tiny 50 milligram functional mix. That sounds harmless.
Totally normal.
But then they have the Desert Stardust line that promises mood-shifting, sight-altering experiences.
And that's the contradiction. The maths just doesn't add up between the tiny dose they claim and the massive effects they're advertising.
But hold on, if they're including things like lion's mane, which a lot of people trust and take for wellness, why should that make a consumer worried? Isn't that a good sign?
That's actually the most brilliant part of the strategy from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
By mixing known, safe, functional mushrooms with this hidden component, they borrow all the goodwill and trust associated with lion's mane.
So you see a familiar ingredient and you let your guard down.
Exactly. The risk isn't the lion's mane. The risk is the unknown purity, dosage, and potential side effects of whatever else is actually in that blend.
Yeah.
You're essentially guinea pigging an untested psychoactive.
And we know something in there is very active.
We do. We've seen sources where a toxicologist noted that these edibles likely contain unknown substances, or at the very least unverified dosages. And user reports online, they back this up.
What are people saying?
People consistently report really heavy effects, way beyond functional mushrooms. We're talking true visuals, heavy sedation, feeling disoriented after just a few gummies.
So boiling it all down, what does this actually mean for you, the listener? The evidence seems to point to a huge risk if you're operating under the assumption that legal means safe and predictable.
That's the bottom line. You are betting on an unregulated compound that probably won't even show up on a standard tox screen.
So the actionable advice coming from these sources is extreme caution. If you are just too curious to stay away, you have to treat their microdose version as like test terrain.
And by that, we mean a tiny fraction of a single gummy, and obviously nowhere near a car or any kind of machinery.
And one source even recommended using a payment method with buyer protection, which, that says a lot about what you might be getting into.
It really does. When you zoom out, the choice you're facing is pretty clear. You can support transparent wellness brands where you know every single ingredient and its exact dosage.
Or you can go with this half mystery bundle that's using really slick packaging to cover up what is essentially an uncontrolled psychoactive experience. And I think that raises a much bigger question for all of us. When you're looking at a trendy new product that's clearly using a legal loophole, how do you decide if that slick, professional packaging is a sign of genuine quality or if it's just masking something completely uncontrolled?
A question worth asking.
To stay cautious out there, stay informed, and always, always ask what's behind that proprietary label.